And welcome, the day being the 6th day of May 2026. Time for a comprehensive and detailed account of what has been happening in the news. My name is Bentro Njue on the sign language interpretation. My colleague is Lucy Mwaura. A little bit later on, for the young men and women and even the Gen Zs who are looking for job opportunities or even entrepreneurship, I will be engaging the head of KCB Foundation to just take a look at the Tujiajiri program. That's a little bit later in our business segment. But for now, let's take a look at what has been making headlines in the news. The government has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening responses to health emergencies through a unified approach and the operationalization of the Kenya National Public Health Institute, KNPHI, amid a surge in zoonotic diseases. Speaking during the inaugural Kenya Health Security Convention 2026 in Mombasa County, the Principal Secretary for Medical Services, Dr. Ouma Oluga, says the country has a strong foundation in emergency response which only needs enhancement, sentiments echoed by health experts who underscored the efforts undertaken by both county and national governments to ensure its citizens are secured health-wise.
Have a very we have a strong financing outlook in terms of the Social Health Insurance Act. We have a Primary Healthcare Act. We have a set of laws. We have even the Public Healthcare Act, the Digital Health Act, which all of them talk about the operationalization of this NPHI.
We already have a program we call the fellowship training, where we train the field epidemiologists from all the counties. I think we have trained the third lot now, and we are working to see how we can make it a continuous process so that we ensure on the ground across all our counties we have trained field epidemiologists who can be able to detect, report, and address to the public health threat.
We are also mandated to carry out matters of antimicrobial resistance, which is now a new threat. 70% now of emerging threats are also from animal to human. We call them zoonotic diseases. We are also trying to make sure that we raise awareness in the population about the risks that animals that are sick pose to us, for care for them before they become a risk to us.
Still on health, the Kenya Environmental Health and Public Health Practitioners Union has warned that the country's public health system risks collapse due to a severe shortage of personnel. According to the Union Secretary General Brown Ashira, the sector has suffered years of neglect, with resources heavily directed towards curative services while preventive and community health services remain underfunded. He made the remarks during the first National Public Health Leadership Summit in Naivasha, Nakuru County.
Before even the devolution in place, we are actually seeing the next 2 or 3 years going forward, we are going to have an empty shell at the Ministry of Health at the 4th floor.
We have said again and again that this country has employed many middle-level health workers, have opened dispensaries even a kilometer to kilometer, and yet the disease burden is on the high rise. This is because of financial funding skewed towards curative services.
You know, we cannot deliver very well unless our people are employed and for them to perform. And there are also issues of people coming in and practicing public health on our behalf. He has talked about school health. Some policies are being made from the headquarters and we are not involved.
For the public officers and environmental officers play a very key role, especially when it comes to issues detection, prevention, and protection and promotion of public health.
Elsewhere, medical services were temporarily disrupted at Ilbisil Health Center in Kajiado County after angry residents staged demonstrations opposing the relocation of an ambulance from the facility to Meto Hospital. Angry residents took to the streets arguing that the transfer of the ambulance has left the facility, which serves a large population in remote areas, without critical emergency services. The patients further faulted the health officials for failing to consult them before making the decision. However, the Kajiado County Department of Health says the decision follows requests from residents of the metro area located in a remote area who have reportedly gone for years without access to ambulance services.
Wanaenda kuchukua gari kwa barabara. Na gari ya kazi ya ambulance ni kuwapeleka watu hospitali. Kuwapeleka pengine. Sasa tunaomba wapenda hao watu watafutie gari yao, lakini hii haitoki hapa. Haitoki.
Hospitali ya Basil iko ni kama central. Manake inahudumia watu wote wa hii soko, accident ya mapikipiki. Accident inatoka hapa kila wakati kutoka kule ndani, na hii hospitali ndio inatumikia. Kwa hivyo hii gari ikienda, hata hatujui nani huyu alienda kuchukua hiyo uamuzi. Manake tulishangaa huyo mtu anataka kufanya kugombanisha sisi na hiyo hospitali za huko.
Away from health matters, police have launched a manhunt for suspects behind the defilement and murder of a 7-year-old girl in Mwanza-Ng'ombe village in Kilifi North Constituency, Kilifi County. Autopsy report confirmed the child had been sexually assaulted before being killed. The girl went missing on Sunday evening while playing at home, only for her body to be found dumped at a nearby thicket. Authorities are being urged to investigate the matter urgently and bring the culprits to book.
Amazee ameniumiza tu mimi mwenyewe huyo mtu. I just hope they find whoever did this.
Why would we have these kinds of things? These are things that I don't get. I feel like somebody just ripped out my chest from underneath me, and I just don't know what to do.
Tusaidiane sisi wote na information yoyote ili tuweze kushika hawa wahalifu.
Polisi nimeambiwa wameanzisha uchunguzi. Wanamtafuta. Sijui ni mtu mzima, sijui ni kijana, hataki kujua. Tunamtaka apatikane hai.
Still on crime, a 35-year-old fisherman has been killed in Lake Victoria following a violent confrontation linked to rivalry over fishing grounds. The fisherman, identified as Frederick Odwor, met his death after groups of fishermen clashed during a fishing expedition near Mikuyu Beach in Suba North Sub-County, Homa Bay County. Take a look.
According to Suba Sub-County Beach Management Unit Chairman William Onditi, two groups of fishermen engaged in violent attacks after accusations emerged that the deceased and his colleagues were fishing in a restricted area.
Wavuvi walipigana kwa maji mpaka mmoja wao akafa hapo baharini. Hiyo inakuja sababu ya kuwa watu wetu wameharibu maeneo za uzazi wa samaki. Hiyo ndio imefanya saa hii samaki ni kidogo.
Mtu anataka kutega nyafu yake pale na mwingine anataka kutega juu ya mwenye alikuwa ametega hapo kitambo. Ilhali sheria iko kwamba ukienda mahali upate mtu ametega, lazima uache hiyo mahali kwa mwenye alitega mbele yako.
We only managed to produce 27,000 metric tons of fish, and the cages produced 28,000 metric tons of fish. That combined, and looking at the population of Homa Bay County, where we have over 1 million people.
Frederick Odwor was struck with a paddle during the altercation, leading to severe injuries. He later died while receiving treatment at Mikuyu Health Center. Elsewhere, residents of Embu town and its environs have raised their alarm over increased cases of burglary targeting households and vehicles.
Sai mtu mwenye ako na mbuzi yake labda aiweke penye analala. Kwenye analala juu akiamka asubuhi akiinjengea nje utapata hakuna mbuzi.
Hiyo usiku kulinyesha sana. So in the morning ndio niliamka nikapata hakuna gari yangu. Gari yangu ilienda usiku yenye siwezi jua kabisa ni ya saa ngapi.
I had a workload of marking the script, so immediately I got into the car, into the house. I continued marking till 6:30 p.m. is when I wanted to leave the house and the apartment. using my car to the nearby kangaroo market to go and shop for groceries for my 8 months old baby. It is at that time that I realized that I didn't have the car keys.
Business leaders have also expressed concern over the rising insecurity, warning that it could negatively affect economic activities in the town.
And as the business community, we feel very insecure. We feel ya kwamba tunataka mtu ajitolee aweze kukomesha hiyo mambo hapa Embu.
Embu County Commissioner Maurice Wanyonyi said that he has summoned county security heads for an urgent meeting to address the matter. Kasi Namasha, Lunchtime News.
Still on crime, the government has intensified security operations against crime in the country, with police using advanced intelligence systems to track down suspects and disrupt gang activities. Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat says the ongoing crackdown, which began in Kitale, has now been extended to neighboring Bungoma and Uasin Gishu counties. He was speaking during the pass-out ceremony for the first Agricultural Development Corporation cohort of the National Police Reservists in Kitale.
Kuna mambo ya gunism. Kuna viongozi wanalipa watoto wa wenyewe wa shilingi 200, shilingi ngapi, wanakunywa pombe, wanapigana.
Saizi operation inaendelea kweli kweli. Mtoto wako akishikwa Moisbridge usiku, wewe hakikisha ako nyumbani ama kwa wapi. Akishikwa usiku utatusaidia kuexplain. Kwa sababu tumekuwa na mashida hata mchana. Ukitoka hivi umeenda church, mwingine amerudi wapi? Nyumbani, amebomoa huko, anabeba vitu.
We started an operation to forgive all the criminals within Trans Nzoia who have been given us security challenges. I want to say that we have made tremendous progress. The county security team and the respective apparatus have been able to arrest several criminals.
Moving on, the Kenya Association of Healthcare Support Assistants is sounding the alarm on the proliferation of colleges offering substandard healthcare courses and in drastically shortened periods. The association says some colleges are offering offering healthcare support assistant courses lasting between 3 weeks and 3 months in gross violation of regulatory standards, which caps the minimum recommended duration at least 1 year. The government is subsequently being challenged to crack down on such colleges and bring those who are betting the vice to book.
It's upon the government to take action. We have written many letters. Even in our office, we have given many letters to colleges who are offering this courses for three months, but we are not seeing action being taken.
Those who are being trained for less than 1 year, those are the type of caregivers that you say they are not safe. They are not safe for the patients.
Now, as Kenya marks its 13th year of devolution, a delegation from the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, IGRTC, and key national institutions is in Arusha, Tanzania for a study tour and knowledge exchange program with the East African community organs. IGRTC member John Mburugo, who is leading the delegation, says the mission is designed to deepen Kenya's understanding of how regional intergovernmental structures function, beginning with engagements at the East Africa Community Secretariat, including a courtesy call on the Secretary General. The delegation has drawn officers from the Executive Office of the President, the Office of the Deputy President, State Department for Devolution, the Office of the Attorney General, Parliament, and the Kenya Law Reform Commission.
We have also learned and shared with them the intergovernmental areas that we undertake in the country of Kenya. And we have learned quite a lot in terms of the policy implementation, initiation, and the various organs of the Secretariat, including the Court of Justice, the East African Legislative Assembly, and how policies are initiated through the Council of Ministers and various tiers that it is taken through to ensure that by the time it becomes an agenda for the Summit of Heads of State and Government, it is one that is impactful to the transformation of the East African partner states.
Moving on, residents affected by floods in Teso South constituency, Busia County, have received relief support from local journalists in a humanitarian outreach aimed at easing their plight. Led by Busia Press Club chairperson Joseph Chiki Abuje, the scribes said they were touched by the dire situation of the victims. More than 300 households impacted by the ongoing floods benefited from assorted donations, including maize flour, cooking oil, and other basic commodities. Area Assistant County Commissioner Michael Ochieng says over 700 people have been affected and urged residents living in flood-prone areas to relocate to higher ground as a precautionary measure.
We had to do this because we were here on Sunday and we saw the situation was very dire. So as journalists, we've come together just to stand with these people, and we call upon even the county government, national government, to do something about these people.
About 200 households have been affected. That involves 776 persons. And in terms of acreage, it's about 500.
So during the rainy seasons, as you can see, wanafunzi attendance yao is below 2%. Unaenda darasani, unapata ni wanafunzi wawili wako darasani.
Very well, to some politics now, where Mwingi West Member of Parliament Charles Ngusianguna has hinted at leaving the Wiper Party ahead of the 2027 general election. The legislator says he may seek re-election on a different political party ticket, citing differences with the party leadership. Nguna spoke during the commissioning of an administration block at Mbondoni Primary School in his constituency. His remarks come days after opposition leaders toured the area and criticized him over his political stance. The MP maintained that he has not officially left the Wiper Party, but said he will not be intimidated in his political decisions.
Yeyote yule ambaye anawania kiti ya urais. Mimi Kalonzo ni rafiki yangu, Ruto ni rafiki yangu. Ile tu nilikuwa nataka kusema, nilisema niliingia broad-based government ili wananchi wetu wa Mwingi West waendelee kufaidika. Mambo ya siasa ni 2027. Kwa sasa mimi I'm fully focused in service delivery. Hii kiti muombe kwa amani na upendo, manake ule atachanguliwa atakuwa rais wa Kenya.
Elsewhere, residents of Juelu and Kanyasrega area in Awendo, Migori County are calling for urgent intervention over the poor state of roads in the area. The residents say key access roads have become nearly impassable, disrupting transport and affecting the movement of both motorists and pedestrians. The locals are now urging the Migori County government to move swiftly and carry out maintenance works before the situation worsens.
Hii ya Ranen Luala Church na ambayo inaenda mpaka Ranen Primary School. Hata watoto hawapati njia vizuri ya kuenda shuleni wakati wa asubuhi ama mvua ikinyesha. Hiyo barabara imeharibika sana mpaka haipitiki, hata pikipiki haipiti.
We are in a mining zone area. We have big lorries ferrying what we call them cyanide. In fact, they contribute a lot in damaging these roads. They carry big loads and they cannot maintain our roads.
Now, Matatu operators of M&K Sacco operating through the Mweki to Kayole today ceased operations, protesting insecurity in the route, where youths by the nickname Kamagera are forcefully soliciting money at every stage, and when denied, they violently stab them. The protest caused significant distractions to the public transport along Kasarani, Mweki, Njiru, and Kayole routes, leaving many commuters stranded Matatu operators claim rising insecurity at picking points linked to Kamagera has left one of them dead and others injured, accusing police of inaction. They are now calling on the government to intervene, saying their circle management is overwhelmed due to the involvement of powerful individuals, alleging the extortion is driven by youths backed by county officials and local MCAs.
Kujua kuna watu wako kwa hiyo maneno wanajiita Kamagera, wanasema sijui simo ni yao, wamepewa power na county government. Sasa ndio tulikuwa tunataka kujua kwani sisi ni wa nani. Kama sisi sio wa county government, sisi sio wa serikali, sisi ni wa nani?
Mwenye gari anataka pesa. So sisi kama wafanyakazi tukaona tukipaza sauti yetu, tulie, tuseme serikali iko wapi? Kwa sababu sisi tumechoka.
From the sides of Kayole to Kirinyaga County, where members of the Kirinyaga County Assembly have called for urgent reforms in traffic management over rising congestion and safety concerns in urban centers. The motion, moved by Inoi Ward MCA Frederick Karemi, seeks to create designated laybys for public transport, noting that narrow two-way streets in high-density areas have made proper parking and loading zones impossible. Karemi said poor planning has also led to congestion and what he termed as unfair clamping of vehicles. Nominated MCA Harrison Bundi called for inclusive planning, including designated parking for persons with disabilities and improved pedestrians' walkways. The motion was passed with the Assembly directing the county government to develop a traffic management framework, reorganize roads within 90 days, clearly mark parking zones, and improve public communication on traffic changes.
This motion advises practical measures to restore order and clarity in the management of traffic across our towns by requiring the establishment of a policy framework to guide traffic flow.
On the issue of traffic, it affects so much things on the matter of health, economy. People are arriving late to the hospitals. Children go to school late. Even it's a revolving thing. It affects the economy in general.
Shall ensure all parking silos and street parking zones are fitted with clear entry and exit signage to prevent head-on congestion and ensure the smooth flow of traffic.
Very well, at about 23 minutes past the top of the hour, we are due for our first break, but just a quick reminder is that on our business segment, we will be talking about job creation and entrepreneurship. And in studio already, we have Joblin Aburi Omari, who is the head of programs at the KCB Foundation. That is a discussion that you do not want to miss. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Usalama wetu kama wana kijiji uko mikononi mwa nani?
We, Abedi, Leija.
Wakikuita mwizi, sitakuwa kesi nyingine jamani. Tukaizungumza ofisini kwangu ama tuingie hapa ndani kwako.
Kama ningemfungia hapa ndani alafu anze mambo ingeniingiza kwa shida nyingine tena.
Ukimsaidia kama wizi uko na shida, mpigie Pastor Joe. Nataka hii ripoti kabla ya siku haijaisha. Sawa?
Sawa. Haito didi yetu.
Narudi. Bado ufikiri vile mama atarudi. Unafikiria tu juu ya title deed.
Akipata support yako, atapata access kwa network yako.
Naona mke wako Monica alijifunza na wewe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenya.
Wake up with Good Morning Kenya, the morning show that's got it all.
We dive deep into issues shaping our country.
Youth are a voice of a nation.
What is the next step for the young people?
Unpacking political landscape from Monday Wednesday.
We discuss family matters.
It is very important to guard your relationship.
And for your health.
Someone doesn't wake up and they become an addict. It's in stages.
We've got you covered each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Every Wednesday, it's all about The Viewpoint.
A day in politics is like 1,000 years.
Unpacking the biggest stories of the week, getting you insights and getting you ready for your day.
And the package is not yet done. I get to fix your Thursday with some entertainment. Entertainment Thursday, it is.
Good morning, Kenya.
We shape your day.
Good morning, Kenya. Every weekday morning on KBC Channel 1.
The bottom-up economic transformation agenda is not just a plan on paper.
Manifesto tulioandika na tukauzia Wakenya na wakatupigia kura, sio gazeti ya kufunga nyama.
It is happening on the ground across Kenya.
Enda subabogi Moriega Jodhurwa unjie Mugani Pamjambo.
In agriculture,
Turkana wameamkia mambo ya ukulima sasa.
On our roads,
Lami black anaingia hapa anagausha hapa, wacha bana.
In health,
all our patients are insure 100%.
In housing,
kutoa watu kutoka nyumba za mabati kuleta nyumba kama hii ya ghorofa ni kitu ya mzuri sana.
In our markets,
umetukumbuka sisi mama mboga, shida zetu umezitatua,
and so much more.
It's a good thing the government inakuja mashinani na this is all what we have been requesting.
This is transformation. This is impact. This is delivering the plan. Every Friday on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back to Lunchtime News. Moving on, the Registrar of Political Parties, John Loriokonu, has told newly registered political parties to champion good governance practices and democracy for the benefit of their supporters and Kenyans at large. The political parties registrar was speaking after issuing certificates to 3 newly registered political parties. They are namely Kenya United Generations People's Forum for Rebuilding Democracy and Msingi wa Utaifa Party.
I hereby present the certificate of full registration to the Kenya United Generation Party, KUG, People's Forum for Rebuilding Democracy, PFRD, and Msingi wa Utaifa Party, MUP. Further, pursuant to Section 5(2)(b) of the Political Parties Act, Cap 7D, I hereby issue the certificate of provisional registration to the National Transformation Party, NTP.
We are not aligned with any side of the government. We are the KUG, we are the new face of the country. We are not aligned with anyone. Sisi tunasimamisha presidential candidates kuanzia juu mpaka chini. Every seat we will occupy all of them. Sasa ni sisi, wakati wa sisi umefika.
When we started registering this party way back in 2023, and today we are happy to receive our full registration certificate that allow us to fill all candidates from MCA, Member of County Assembly, to the President, the top seat.
Ningependa kuwasihi vijana wenzangu, hiki ndo chama sahihi cha wewe kama kijana kuendeleza malengo yako ya uongozi.
Look at the camera.
Boda operators can now access funding to upgrade their businesses, courtesy of the Mogo Financial Services. Fernandez Karaoke, head of Mogo Boda Business Wing, says the organization has now curated its financing packages targeting mainly young people who want to venture into business but cannot access loans, only that such individuals must exhibit some financial discipline. Karaoke says the Boda sector is employing over 2.5 million Kenyans directly, and such was an important industry that cannot be wished away but should be supported.
what happens here is that we look at not necessarily their credit history, because majority of them don't have it, and especially when you look at the Boda sector, and we basically just look at their income and the discipline and have them access assets, have them access funds through logbook loans, and that is one of the things that really makes us unique in the market.
50% of that financed through us as well, not only Mogo but other lenders as well. So we are empowering Kenyans. Number two is that empowering the youth. 80% of all people who come to take up Boda financing are youth. They range from 20 to 35 years. These are youthful people. They are looking for ways to be able to, for incremental income, and so we are at the forefront of that.
When it comes to matters road safety, I think when an accident happens, it's both a loss to us and to our customers. So definitely, we are at the forefront when it comes to matters road safety trainings. How do we do this? We champion with grassroots associations such as the Boda Association of Kenya.
Very well, time to make sense of shillings and cents in business. Now, business activities contracted in April as high fuel prices lifted average cost burdens and dampened customer demand. The latest Stanbic Bank Kenya Purchasing Managers Index PMI shows that business conditions declined for a second successful month, with a reading for April at 49.4. Readings above 50.0 signal an improvement in business conditions on the previous month, while readings below 50.0 show a deterioration. Kenya up from 47.7 in March, but remained below the 50.0 neutral threshold for the second month running. Stanbic Bank Kenya attributes the deterioration to the sharp increase in fuel prices due to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. This has pushed up transport and production costs, forcing many businesses to raise prices. Consumers are now cutting back on spending, leading to reduced sales across key sectors such as retail, agriculture, and services. In response, businesses in Kenya reduced their output to a lesser extent compared to the previous month. In addition, orders alleviated some of these pressures. Despite these challenges, employment remains relatively stable. Companies continued hiring for the 15th consecutive month, although most of the new jobs are temporary, reflecting caution about the future. Business confidence slipped for the third month in a row, but remained positive overall. Furthermore, businesses look to develop plans, diversification efforts, and marketing spending as drivers of optimism. Very well, for our next story, we cross over to the great county of Isiolo, and to be specific, in Garbatula, where my colleague Regina Manyara has been keeping tabs with Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA, which has been having a number of projects in the northern corridors. And today they are in Garbatula. Let's listen to what they have to tell us in regards to the projects that KENHA is undertaking in that great county of Isiolo. Over to you, Regina.
Experiencing some rains today, but for us who are in Galbatura, I'm sure we will not be experiencing that because it is quite hot. You can see the state we are in. This is exactly 45 kilometers from Kulamawe. We are looking, or rather tracking the project 45 kilometers in. This is lot 2. So yesterday we were here, we were in Isiolo all the way to Kulamawe, and now we've started to just look at the status report of this particular initiative that has already been pegged as quite vital, not just for Kenya, but also for Somalia and Ethiopia. But where we are in Garbatula, we are looking at the economic import, in terms of trade and logistics, as well as social economic development. The big question is, what is the status report of this particular project? To shine more light on where we are in terms of status report, I'd want to call on this particular makeshift set here, none other than the resident engineer, that is Engineer Justus, to just bring us up to speed where we are and what import Garbatula has in as far as this particular project is concerned. Thank you very much, sir, for making time. So give us a brief intro of yourself and why you are the resident engineer, or what does that mean, being the resident engineer?
All right, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm Engineer Justus Ofridus Otwani, the resident engineer for Lot 2, Kulamawe Modogash. Kulamawe Modogash project is 128 kilometers long, comprising of 113 kilometers of main road and 15 kilometers of the Garbatula Spar Road. So where we're standing right now is one of the bridges, the two main bridges on the Spar Road, and this is 10 kilometers from the start of the Spar and 45 kilometers from the start of our road at Kulamawe.
Mm-hmm. Would it be prudent to say that Garbatula is quite important in as far as this project is concerned, because it also helps, optimize the Lapsset corridor?
Well, that is true. We are very close to where the Lapsset corridor crosses the road from Kina to Garbatula. And therefore, Garbatula Market Center is a critical market center where we have facilities such as the Level 4 hospital that serves this region. And we also have the famous Garbatula High School, which is around national facilities, other institutions around here. Therefore, this is the critical center for this sub-county.
All right. So in as far as the project is concerned, let us know where we are in terms of the completion timelines, and what are the completion timelines for Lot 2 in this particular project. Okay. In terms of the contract, this project is scheduled for completion by 2nd of May 2027. Where we are at right now, we're about 50% done with the works. We have done 35 kilometers of asphalt concrete surfacing. We have done 85 kilometers to final earthworks level. We have completed most of the major structures. All the 38 box culverts are done. The bridges are at 80% complete. The crosspipe culverts are at 70% complete. Improved subgrade kilometers of road. That will work out to about 70% of the project. All right. So this particular project has also been termed as climate efficient, and where we're finding ourselves, this particular bridge that you have mentioned is right next to a seasonal river. Or a seasonal river. We are talking about expected high rains and such. How are you planning, to deal with those climatic changes if they come, especially now that you're currently undertaking this particular project?
That's a very good question. Before we started, at the beginning of the project, as part of the scope of works, we had to carry out a design review. And as part of that design review, we reviewed the capacity of cross-drainage structures. And therefore, we have enhanced the cross-drainage capacity such that in case we have heavy rains, we had very, very heavy 2023, and we learned a lot from that. We have enhanced our road. We have raised the road levels, an average of 2 meters above the abutting land. As you may know, this is a very flat area from Kulamawe all the way to Modogash. It is generally level. And design-wise, the road has to be raised above the abutting land to enable us to put in the right sizing of cross-drainage. So we have already incorporated that, and we believe that as situations like happened between Garissa and Modogash, where we had about 4 sections cut off, that's unlikely to happen in this road, because we've taken care of that in our design.
All right. So as we bring this to a close, you have been working on this particular project for several months now. What do you think has been the socio-economic input, especially for the community where this project is currently underway?
Well, I think for the immediate to the community has been in I think we had about 600 of the local community members working. And by local, I mean communities living along the project road at Kulamawe, Garbatula, Boji, Kambisamaki, Eldera, onwards. These are settlements along the project road. At the peak, we had about 600 number of these local staff employed within the project. So that is a major benefit to the local community here. And that also goes with the benefit of the training that they've gained from this project in terms of acquisition of requisites.
We do apologize for that technical hitch in that interview that Ray is having with engineer Julius Otswani, who is a resident engineer Lot 2, and they are opening up the northern corridor that stretches all the way to Ethiopia. And one of the reasons is to not only to enhance mobility, but also to enhance trade, and also a big benefit to the communities there. We will have a more loaded report in regards to that in our subsequent bulletin. And from Isiolo now back to studio, as I had mentioned earlier on, we'll be looking at job creation and entrepreneurship. And without further ado, allow me to just jump into the interview. As I mentioned earlier on, we're joined by Joblin Aburi Omari, who is the head of programs at KCB Foundation. Let's discuss this. And the good thing, karibu sana the program first.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, the good thing is that we are talking about tujiajiri, and it's something that has been there for a couple of years, and we will be able to demystify it to our, especially the young generation. In a nutshell, what exactly is it, and why is it that you decided to come up with this program, and how do someone benefit?
Thank you so much, Ben, for inviting me for this interview.
Welcome.
So Tujiajiri is a youth empowerment program that really focuses on ensuring that the young people are able to get gainful employment. We have been in operation for 10 years, so we're actually celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year. And how we have structured the Tujiajiri program, because of the challenge of the huge unemployment among the young people, we designed the Tujiajiri program to focus on building skills for these young people, enabling them to transition to the job market. Secondly, we also looked at them for those who are interested in starting businesses. How can they start businesses? How can they grow them? So we provide what we call business development services, enabling them to start their business and grow their businesses. But last and most important, you realize that quite a number of young people struggle to grow their businesses due to the issue of lack of access to financial services. And that's why KCB comes in through KCB Foundation. So we provide and link these young people with access to finance and access to networking opportunities, enabling them to access the markets.
All right, we need to also check the microphone that you're using, but before we continue with this interview, allow me to just read this one item where fuel supply is set to normalize by Thursday this week. Energy and Petroleum Cabinet Secretary Opio Wandai blamed the fuel shortage on a system hitch, which was curtailing the normal distribution of fuel by a section of oil marketing companies, which he says has since been resolved. This comes as several counties reported fuel shortages, disrupting transport and impacting cost of goods across the country.
We still have shortages of fuel in most of our petrol stations. Bwana CS, what is going on, and how can that issue of shortage in petrol and diesel be addressed?
We have got no doubt as government that even in the worst case scenario, this country is not going to suffer any fuel shortage. I just want to appeal to Kenyans to be patient and to bear with us as we address some of these small hitches.
Very well, and apologies for that, and also apologies to our viewers. But again, allow me to reintroduce you again, that you're Joblin Aburi Omari, who is the head of programs at KCB Foundation. We are looking at jobs creation and also the entrepreneurship. So in a nutshell, because of that technical hitch, basically what is Tujiajiri, why the program, and what is the criteria of joining the program?
So in summary, Tujiajiri is a youth empowerment program that focuses on linking these young people to job opportunities, enabling them to grow their businesses, and enabling them to access the markets. The target group for Tujiajiri program is mainly young people aged between the age of 15 to 34, especially those who are out of school.
Now, what types of skills training do you offer, and how do they join? If I want to join, let's just take a practical example. I'm 30 years old.
So normally, Tujajiri looks at various skills, but we focus on vocational skills. We realize there's a huge gap in terms of what the market needs, and then what the skills are available outside there in the market. So we support the young people to join our TVETs, our VTCs, enabling them to actually gain these skills that match what the market requires. Secondly, how you are able to join the program, we normally have what we call a rolling basis recruitment in terms of provision of scholarships for those who want to join the skilling program. So you are able to get that information through our branches or through our social media pages. You can be able to actually go in there and check, and then you are able to apply for you to join the program. So besides skilling, which is more on vocational skills, there is a second component that is very critical, and I've mentioned about it a bit: business development services. How do you start a business? How do you grow it? And then how do you expand it using what we call affordable financing that is more sustainable? So those are the components of Tujajiri. Yeah.
How have you adapted to the rapidly changing job market and also technological advances?
So as Tujajiri, we are always scanning on the market, looking at what the market requires. Of course, from vocational skills. For example, for now, we're talking about new ways of building houses, new ways of actually doing agriculture. So we normally do a market scan, look at what is happening. We adopt the new practices. So for agriculture, for example, how do we adopt what we call smart agricultural practices? How do we also adopt what we call green technologies? We also look at that. The issues of how do we engage and use solar productively to produce in agriculture. When it comes to other areas like digital marketing, how do we employ or deploy skills for young people to be able to do digital marketing? So those are some of the innovative ways. When it comes to financing of businesses, we are always coming up with innovative ways of actually enabling young people to access financing. We know very well young people are not conversant or do not employ the aspect of actually walking into a branch and sitting with an officer trying to do an application for a loan. They prefer digital. So we have digital products where these young people can actually access facilities, enabling them to scale their products. We have also integrated the use of AI in some of our trainings. So when you come to issues like welding, there's an assimilation through AI that helps them to get these new skills. Yeah.
And how do you measure the success of this program? And of course, we are looking at, we've talked about mostly venturing into the vocational training. We're talking about plumbing, electrical.
Yes.
How do you measure the success of this program?
So we normally do what we call a tracking of our young people to find out how many actually are now currently on gainful employment. So we are able to do surveys, we're able to do impact studies and be able to know how many have actually joined the job market. Then secondly, besides that, for the businesses, we track to see how many new jobs are being created for those young people who are starting businesses. So we're able to actually get that information through those surveys, through our agents that work across these branches. They give us that information and we're able to measure our impact. We normally look at employment KPIs. We also look at income growth for those businesses. So as you join in, what was your income level? So once you have gone through our training, we also try and track as is your income increasing. Then lastly, how many of these businesses actually are able to access facilities from facilities or loans from the bank. So we have this information just to give you the level of impact that we have created for the last 10 years. Close to 45,000 young people have actually gained skills through the program. We have enabled the lending or SMEs to be able to access credit to the tune of 3.2 billion Kenyan shillings through also support of our partners like MasterCard Foundation. We have also supported young people with toolkits. Ben, I can tell you, just skilling is not enough. Giving young people the opportunity to have a skill, a toolkit, to deploy that skill is very important. So through that program, we have also provided over 2,000 toolkits to young people, enabling them to actually start work immediately. So those are the main ways that we are all seeing and tracking our impact within the communities.
All right, I'm going to give you 10 seconds just to point out one challenge that you guys have been facing. In the last 10 years, of course, there are challenges. One challenge you faced and how you've been able to overcome that challenge.
I think the biggest challenge is about what we call youth gratification. They always, once they finish training, they are quick to want to see results.
Yes.
Okay, but business has their own challenges. There's up and down. So that's why we have deployed what we call mentorship within the program, and we have linked these young people with coaches across the country, enabling them to understand and learn how to run businesses.
Thank you so much. I've been speaking to Joblin Aburi Omari, who is the head of programs at KCB Foundation, and we'll be looking at job creation and entrepreneurship. I wish we had a lot of time and we could have talked about, because a lot of the youth want to enter into the job market, and especially entrepreneurship, but the skills, that's where we have the biggest gap. But thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much.
And you guys are doing a good job.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on, the completion of the 25.5 billion shillings Mwache Dam in Kwale County might be delayed as the project grapples with funding challenges. The National Assembly Committee on Water, Irrigation and Blue Economy Chairperson Kangogo Bowen says the main contractor is owed 1.9 billion shillings due to funding issue.
Mwache Dam was said to be completed late this year after construction officially started in 2023. However, the National Assembly Committee on Water, Irrigation and Blue Economy Chairperson says completion could be delayed as the project faces funding challenges. The National Assembly Committee on Water, Irrigation and Blue Economy says the construction of a water treatment plant and installation of distribution pipelines are still pending due to limited funds.
We have the dam complete, but that water still cannot be utilized, cannot benefit the community when we don't have the treatment plant and the pipeline, which has not yet started.
Mwache Dam's main contractor is also owed. The legislators have pledged to allocate the dam 5.8 billion shillings in the next budget for completion of the remaining works and compensation of affected landowners.
I want to assure, again, the people of Kwale, the people of Mombasa and the locals here, that this project will not stop because of lack of finance. Because we have come here as members of parliament, and we are going to have a meeting with the Treasury to make sure that all the resources they are asking should be provided as soon as possible.
Benson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
Now, switching gears to matters sport, the FKF Premier League enters a decisive phase this afternoon with 4 key fixtures lined up across the country as teams push for position in the closing stages of the campaign.
Kenji Madada, Njue, amekataa tena Buffet, Shoka!
Kenya will be represented by 9 teams in the East Africa Netball Championship that is scheduled to be held from Sunday this week at the Ulinzi Sports Complex. Kenya Prisons will field a team each in the men's and women categories, while the others, including Ulinzi Swords, Kenyatta National Hospital and Red Perils women's team. Very well, that's where we put a cap on KBC Lunchtime News this Wednesday afternoon. Many thanks indeed for joining us. But remember, Arsenal is the first team to get into the finals of the Champions League. We'll bring you more. Today, Bayern and PSG play together. Do have yourself a blessed afternoon ahead. More news in our subsequent bulletin and on our social media spaces.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tunajifunza jinsi ya kukuza kitunguu saumu.
Ukitaka kupata begu, unaenda kwa mtu mwenye amelima, unaiona hapa, unaona ndio hii. Practically unaona kwa macho. Ninakuuzia gari inaitwa Rwanda. Hiyo Rwanda unaiona wapi? Iko hapa.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Hii tu inafanya uniite sasa mtoto tu.
Anafanya nini na viatu juu akiiti maarifa?
No. Bring me my head.
Ana mapovu.
Hayo maziwa, sina maziwa meka mtoto wewe.
Bili mimi ni mtoto. Kile imekuaje? Jamani. Lakini Bili unapenda mchezo. Wewe.
Tutu. Sasa tatizo. Asha kuja kwangu ameingia ndani ya nyumba kuchukua maziwa. Si ndio?